The neuroscience of poverty is an emerging discipline that is critical for those of us who work in juvenile justice and child welfare. It's important for us to understand some of the concepts and how poverty has a profound impact on brain development. So when youth experience the world after having a traumatic event or lifetime of trauma, we also call that complex trauma, that deep, primitive part of the brain is still acting like the trauma is happening right now, even if the situation doesn't match. They may not be able to respond normally to even mild stress. Unfortunately, the way trauma is stored in the brain is that it stores itself in what we call the limbic area of the brain. So with these unfortunate traumatic events, they are stored in the brain in a certain way where these neural networks have been created. And when situations occur in the here and now that are similar or that can trigger those networks that have been established many years ago, these kids respond and act in a way whereas if that event, that traumatic event from yesterday, is actually happening in the here and now. We call these responses trauma triggers or trauma responses, and so much of what we see in our out-of-home placements are these trauma triggers. So there may be a simple confront by a staff, a simple redirect by a staff, or a simple directive. These kind of situations can cause a major behavioral event in our young people because they live a life of defensiveness. They are survivors. Their threat radar is always going. And so sometimes the responses that we get from them tends not to be consistent with the situation at hand. And so we have to be aware of this, that so much of the behaviors that we are seeing isn't necessarily a choice. The brain and the body system is reacting without conscious thought or awareness. So many youth are unable to respond normally to events that's happening in their environment. And I think as we embrace these concepts of neuroscience and what we're learning about brain development with our young people will be critical in that effort to gain a better understanding of who they are and how best to work with them. This is just an introduction and some nuggets that will benefit you in regards to this discipline. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button. And if you have any comments, feel free to leave your comments. So with that being said, thanks again, and I look forward to you tuning in to future modules.